Well, as you might guess, we are in the lowlands today, having been in the highlands yesterday.
Square meal each day, rather than a round meal. I was telling you about Robinson Crusoe. Now, Robinson Crusoe, or Alexander Selkirk, the real name, he went off on this ship, the Cinque-Ports, and he had a dispute with the captain, and he said to him, this ship is not fit for sailing, I want you to drop me at the nearest land. Now, they were down near South America at the time, and the nearest land they found was the island of Juan Fernandez. Now, Juan Fernandez is about 400 miles off the coast of Chile. So Robinson Crusoe was dumped there, basically. Get off my ship, he was told, and he was left there with what? Just a basic supply. He had a Bible, a knife, a bit of food to keep him going, and he managed to survive on this deserted island. The only thing that were on the island were goats and rats, and he ate both and befriended the goats. The rats actually were a complete nuisance to him. He couldn't sleep at night for these rats all nibbling at his toes and things. But he befriended some of the goats. He ate the goats. He used the goat skins for his clothing, exactly, and for a shelter. He made a shelter out of them. He made a tent out of the goat skins as well. And he survived out there for 4 years and 4 months before an English ship saw his signals on the beach and came and picked him up. Realising who he was, a respected navigator, they actually put him in charge of a stolen French ship, and he sailed back in charge of his own ship back here to Scotland. Well, he went back to Lower Largo and decided he would settle down, but he couldn't. He couldn't even sleep in a proper bed or a proper home. He made a tent in the backyard, he bought goats, and he still couldn't settle down, and he went off to sea again. And he actually died at sea. He died of yellow fever, and his story became well known around here. So Daniel Defoe heard about him and decided to create the character Robinson Crusoe. He added a few elements, as they always do. And Man Friday, for instance, didn't exist. And 28 years Robinson Crusoe is supposed to have stayed on his desert island. But that was where the real story comes from. Alexander Selkirk from the coast of Fife.
Doofus Park.
Quotas are and things like that, as anything. So they also, at the Elmwood College, not only did farmers learn their trade, but also greenkeepers for the golf courses of Great Britain. It's a very fine greenkeeping course they have here. Go on, you do.
No, I can't.
Go on.
I can't.
You not agree with it?
Well, again, clearly, we are in the middle of the lowlands.
Larry, we're going to be in the lowlands all day. You don't have to say that anymore.
Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate that editorial assistance.
Free-range pigs. They are happy as pigs in mud. Look at them. They're absolutely... It's been there forever. Strathyram House on your right-hand side, and they kept him in there in safety with all the bodyguards and so on all around. But he really didn't settle very well. He was studying fine art at the time. Difficult road hole because the ball just keeps coming out onto the road here. And then we've got the 18th going up to the top there. Directly through to the left we have the clubhouse. Those of you who are golfers, you can go and have lunch in that golf clubhouse and watch some of the action, at least as far as I know. The fact that the championship is on and it's simply a practice day means that I really am a wee bit at a loss as to know whether anything is going to be actually, close to us as normally open. Normally we can go into the clubhouse, normally we can have lunch in there and enjoy the views down the golf courses. Do forgive me if I'm sending you somewhere that for some reason they're closing down today. Right? And it's at the top of the old course that we intend to drop you off in front of the British Golf Museum. So when we drop you off, it will be at this golf end of town. That's the official drop-off point. But we're now going to just take you through the rest of the town and show you all the sights of this lovely ancient royal borough, the cathedral city of St Andrews. Ochterlony is here on the left. This is a world famous shot because Willie Ochterlony, he was the last actual St Andrews man to win the British Open. He did it in the 1890s. And his brother Laurie was actually a club maker, a fabulous golf club maker. So they still make clubs at Ochterlony's. It's a great shop. So this is where we drop you off down there on the left at the end of our orientation tour. Now, St Andrews hasn't changed a bit over the years. When Mary Queen of Scots came here in the 16th century, she would have driven up North Street like we're going to do and down South Street. The actual medieval layout is completely the same as it always was.
So kind. Drivers.
And we basically have 3 parallel streets, and it's all very easy to explore on foot. Once you get dropped off there, it's just a block up to the town here, and then you'll find yourselves going naturally from one area to the other as well. Those of you who want to see as much as possible, see the castle and the cathedral and so on, you'll basically find yourself walking from one to the other, and you won't even notice that you've walked at all. So this is North Street then, and at the very top of it is the cathedral and the harbour, but just coming up on the left, a lovely big clock tower for St Salvator's. Now look, watch out for Prince William. You know what he looks like. Tall, blonde and absolutely gorgeous and to die for. So if we see him, we can all shriek. It is just the start of the term really, the early days of term, and all these students here. He was of course studying fine art, and you'll see the fine art building just on the left here. He changed to geography, but the fine art course was oversubscribed because Prince William was on the course. Now that he's changed to geography, I suppose everybody else has changed to geography as well. Now you can see the sky on his red cape. There's one. He's got it down both shoulders, and she's only got it up on one shoulder. They all wear red capes. If you're a new student, you wear your cape up on both shoulders. First year student, you drop one shoulder down. Second year student, you drop the other one down as well. And then the graduates move on to a different colour of gown. So this is basically like Freshers' Week here. They're all learning what to do. St Salvator's College in here. Now, I don't think you're going to have a problem if you want to try it. Walk through there. These are normally open to the public, but I was warned recently that because Prince William is actually staying in digs in there, they're not letting us do it anymore. But if they let you in, you do it, because it's lovely to go through these grassy things and see the beautiful buildings and all the ivy on the walls. And in fact, you can go in here and into St Salvator's Chapel here. This dates back to the early 1500s, this chapel. And it's a beautiful painted chapel inside with a lovely organ that's often being played. So you can pop in here. But where all these students are standing, there is in amongst them all, and they are moving away just beautifully to show me it. There we are, and initials PH. The cobbles here. The initials PH intertwined. If you can't see them, don't worry, you'll see them when you walk by later on. PH was Patrick Hamilton. And Patrick Hamilton was the first man to be burned for the new Protestant faith. He was burnt at the stake here. The bishop and all the other high dignitaries of the Catholic Church were here saying, recant your blasphemy, and he burnt, he refused to, he preached until his last moment. The crowd had gathered all around, and as Patrick Hamilton died, suddenly everybody gasped, because at that moment, when he took his last breath, his face appeared on the tower of St Salvator's Chapel. Now you'll see his face in the stonework. It's up above the archway here, up above the bishop's coat of arms. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows up, and you will see what is said to be the face of Patrick Hamilton that appeared there at the moment of his death.
See it?
One by putting a 4th stair, so you've got people living down below and people living up above. And you'll wander through all these lovely lanes later on and see all these things close up. After church, the capes that they wear, these students, they go out onto the harbour wall and they walk. They're quite a feature of student life here. The younger hall on the left-hand side here with all the classical urns, this is the graduation hall for the university. And again, nothing to stop you wandering through all these areas if you're interested in the university. But Ian will go nice and slowly over the top of this road on the left, because I want to just show you the glimpse of the castle. Now again, don't forget you can visit it for nothing with your pass. But if you look down North Castle Street on the left, at the very bottom there, the ruined castle, the top window was the one that Cardinal Beaton watched as George Wishart burned. So you'll see the initials GW on the stones down there in front of the castle. But up here we've got the cathedral. St Rule's Tower, you can see some people up there, dating back to the 11th century. 106 feet high it is. Terrific views. There's no wind today, so you'll enjoy that. And the great window here, the east window at the far end, giving you, and this west window here, giving you an idea of the size of this place. There were 13 different altars in here. Only one of them was actually to St Andrew himself, our patron saint. You can walk through there, nothing to stop you just having a look through all the actual cathedral precincts in there. You'll see graves of famous golfers like Tom Morris, who were born and brought up in St Andrews. And if you go through there, or if you're coming from the castle, you're going behind these houses down here, there is behind the cathedral the harbour. So there's little lanes, we can't take you down there, and the coach is just far too windy. So you go down there and you can go to the harbour, walk out onto that wall if you like. Lovely. St Rule's is where the priory was. And the Pens are 14th century, this great big gatehouse here that we passed by. It's ahead of us now, we'll pass it on our left. Look at the size of that cathedral.
Goodness.
It's a quite impressive cathedral, really. And the visitor centre right just down there where the flags are, that's where you'll need your pass to get into for all the information. But this, the Pens, 14th century gatehouse of the priory. You can people drive through there, but we can't get a coach through there. That's another way down to the harbour, and you follow the priory walls down there. St Leonard's house on the left hand side is where Mary Queen of Scots stayed when she came to St Andrews. And the buildings all around here have now become St Leonard's School. This is a college for girls. And just down the street on the left there is a very famous theatre, the Byre, with the black roof there and the slates. That is, it was founded in 1933 in a cow byre. A byre is actually a cow barn. And people, you know, this fantastic little local theatre here, people started to come from all over the country to watch the productions in there. And then eventually they opened the new building 2 years ago. That new theatre was actually built, and Sean Connery was the one that opened it.
Good.
Thank you.
South Street here, and you've got St Mary's College coming up on the left-hand side, part of the university. And again, that's another of the quads that they are very happy to let people wander through. That's the one with all the sort of classical buildings here, classical emblems on it and coats of arms. So you go through the grey archway if you want to, and you can walk through the lovely gardens there of that particular quad with nobody bothering about you at all. On the right hand side we've got the church where John Knox preached, and if that's open then there's nothing to stop you going into that, but it does seem fairly shut. And behind there's lots of lovely little restaurants. The Doll's House is a particularly nice one. There's a pottery where they make handmade pottery down there. And all these lanes and wines lead to the actual centre of St Andrews, which is Market Street. Now straight ahead of us we've got the Westport, way at the bottom there. Cars still use it but coaches can't. The defensive gate, designed to be exactly the same as the Netherbow in Edinburgh in fact, and it's the only surviving town gate in the whole of Scotland. This ruin on the left hand side is the ruin of the Isle of the Blackfriars Monastery. That's all that remains of a huge great monastic establishment that was once there. And the school behind there is the Madras School. It's actually a state school, it's not fee paying, but it's considered one of the finest in Scotland. Founded by a local lad made good, who was Professor Bell, and it's into Bell Street we now go. So take a look down to your left and you'll get a closer look at the Westport down there. They did have all these defensive gates into the city of St Andrews, but they never had a wall as such. They just used the buildings, the homes of the people along there as a building, but they would close, at curfew they would close these gates down so undesirable people could not get in. Now over Market Street we go, and as we go over the next intersection, take a look right, you will see Market Street. It's the heart of the actual borough where markets were held all around the market square. And in fact they still do hold a market here. The first week of August every year they have the Lammas Fair. Now this is the oldest market in Scotland. And Market Street has got the information bureaus, it's got supermarkets, it's got all the shops that you would want, banks and ATMs and everything up there in Market Street. This is the Greyfriars Street, and you can see the gardens on our left, which are all very nicely looked after. They're actually the gardens of the homes on the right. A street runs right down through the middle of the properties here. But the gardens were once actually apothecary gardens for the Greyfriars, and they did all their medicinal herbs in there at one time. What they have to say, I'm sure they won't object to that. And down to the golf area we go. sizes. And there's cashmere stores down here, there's jewellery shops, there's antiques, there's golf shops all over the place. There is an official logo. There's men in kilts all over the place. Look at this one. Wow. A bit of a character. If you're looking for St Andrews Links official merchandise, there is a little shop up here by the Royal and Ancient, and there's also an outlet in the actual golf clubhouse. The Royal and Ancient Golf Clubhouse, by the way, they're the regulating body for golf all over the world, and we can't get into their particular building. It's for members only, and male members at that. The only day that they let women in is St Andrew's Day on the 30th of November. So this is the stand here on the left that they come up from the 18th. So this is the Old Course 18th. Parallel to it, to the right of it, is the first tee off there. This is the Royal and Ancient. You'll be able to walk through here. Nothing to stop us walking through here, and get a feel for it and see a few of the stars at their practice. So there we are. There's some of them just about to tee off down there. Be interested in the British Golf Museum, which is here on the right-hand side. The Martyrs Monument that I was telling you about is on the grassy slope.
Well, this is the old course, probably called something a little different than that, but this is all of the video we're going to devote to this because St Andrews, there's a lot to see and we only have 3 hours.
No, it's called the Old Course, and this is where the Dundee tournaments are
Well,
taking place starting tomorrow.
I think it's really called the Old and Traditional Course. The Old and Ancient Course, actually. We're having lunch at the Dollhouse. It so far has been slightly better than perfect. Well, this is the Doll's House where we just had a wonderful restaurant, a wonderful lunch. And doing a 180 behind us is the church where John Knox preached. Well, we definitely have to stop here before we board the bus. And continues. And it continues.
You don't do that every time I pop. We're going to make a photographer out of you yet, sweetheart. It's self-preservation.
Many years ago, this was St. Andrew's Cathedral. But it's not all ancient here. Although that's not exactly modern, but it's certainly modern than most of what we're looking at right now. But this was obviously an ancient soul. So what your tax dollars go for in jolly old Scotland. Woman in the act of stealing a thistle. She couldn't get any heather in the highlands yesterday, but a thistle she plucked. It is that. Right there's the scene of crime. Jean Root, aka Thistle Snapper. One of the penalties for napping thistle is she has a little thorn in the finger. That could be Boston or Monica from Fairborn and Fairfax.
He wishes could be his fish dinner.
Freshman students at St. Andrews. Or as they say here, freshies.
Freshies.
Well, ancient Scotland, or I should say early Scotland, is known for advancements in philosophy.
Mine's done.
And this is their moral philosophy building. We have left St. Andrews and traveled to Dundee for a quick look, or as they say, a photo opportunity, to shoot the RMS, I'm embarrassed to say I don't know what the terminology is, Discovery, the ship that Shackelford sailed to the North Pole. It was encased in ice for 2 years before it was broken loose and returned. Well, after spending practically a week here in Scotland, we finally get out and walk around Stirling. This is what the locals call the wee Wallace. Well, Jeannie's just reminded me that the Golden Lion is a hotel where Bobby Burns stayed. Go ahead. All right, now you can. And you notice she didn't even offer to share.
It was mine. You could have gotten one.
That's it. Well, we sort of got lost and rained on in downtown Stirling. Haven't been here a week. Now we're rushing back to our graduation party.